Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Oscar Guerrero. I'm here with my partner, Sumit Harish, and together we are the co-founders of the Automated Clinic. The Automated Clinic was created and serves the purpose of teaching you, medical practitioners, how to create a profitable and sustainable clinic through online marketing and strong, sustainable marketing and business strategies. How are you doing today, Sumit?
Good, man. I'm doing excellent. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to portray this knowledge. I really think it's super important, with a lot of the clients that we've worked with in the past year. We've seen a lot of similarities and we've seen areas that, a lot of doctors, a lot of wellness centers struggle into. So I'm very excited to break this thing down. I mean, this is kind of the foundation of your clinic in 2019 moving forward. So let's just dive right into it, shall we?
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And so today's topic is going to be discussing the 4 R's. And you can see Samir and I are both wearing our gloves here because we're going to be giving some visual representation of what we're talking about. But again, like I was saying, today we'll be talking about the 4 R's of building a profitable and sustainable health clinic. Okay. And these 4 R's, like Samir alluded to before, are really going to be the foundations of building your house, okay, of building your clinic. And so without further ado, let's not waste any time and jump right into it. I am going to jump into my screen so that we can do an example of what that looks like. All right, everyone. So we're going to talk about the 4 R's. And before we dive into what each one of those 4 R's looks like, I first want to give an analogy of building a home, right? And so,
Hold on a second. So, are you sharing your screen?
hold on. Okay. Fantastic. So we're going to flip over to my screen right now. And we're going to go through the 4 R's. And before we dive into what each one of those 4 R's is, everyone, I want to give an analogy to help it make a little bit more sense, okay? And so I want to give credit to my mentor, Bob Mangat, who taught me this and has allowed me the opportunity to share this with all of you. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a house, okay? And excuse my drawing skills, I did not pass drawing in school. But this is a home, okay? And in order to build a strong home, we all know that we need a strong foundation. Now, we know that is true for building a home, building a building, but what about your clinic? Now, what Sumit and I have both seen quite often, and one of the biggest challenges and also one of the greatest opportunities that I think you have for your clinic today is moving away from what most young business entrepreneurs and young clinic entrepreneurs do is building a house on one pillar. Now, that one pillar could be, Facebook advertising, that could be SEO, and for most, it could just be word of mouth. And I am getting used to this pen, okay? So what happens, Sumit, and you know this, man, it's when we build too much equity or too much trust in feeding, sorry. Sumit, we're gonna have to start this one over, man.
Rapid.
Build, and we feed, this pen is killing me, man. Feeding too, all right, start over, man.
The whole thing?
Yeah, just start the whole thing over real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just want to delete the entire recording.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to go through it all and chop it up, but
I can chop it up. I can chop it up, bro. Don't worry about it.
all right.
Yeah, we're in flow right now.
So I'm gonna share my screen. Cool. So I'm gonna share my screen here. And before we jump into what each one of those 4 R's look like, I want to draw you an analogy that I think will help make more sense. And the analogy here is going to be basically the building of a home. In this case, it could be your clinic.
Just click on that pen there. There you go.
Okay?
And then the other thing, Oscar, just want to just mention, sometimes it could be more smoother if you don't have any wires near your pad. So if you have wires hitting your thing or anything like that, it's magnetic, so it's going to really mess the thing up. So you want to have it 100% clear.
Yeah, I got to get used to this thing, man.
Don't worry.
So we're gonna build a house. And as we all know, it is incredibly important that we build a strong foundation for any home, right? So they can sustain hard times, it can sustain a storm. However, what Sumit and I have come to find and come to see with a lot of clinics is that it is typically built on just one pillar. Okay, and to make sense of this, that one pillar when it comes to marketing could be Facebook advertising, right? It could be SEO, or it could be, which we see most often, word of mouth. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with any one of these. The problem is that we see, like I said before, is that too many clinics are feeding that one pillar way too often. And whenever there's a hard time, or whenever one of these things, an algorithm changes, or something works differently this month than it did last month, what happens? The pillar breaks and the house falls. Right, Sumit?
Oh, absolutely. I was even going to add to that, Oscar, is that I actually work for a business. It's a humongous business. Maybe some of you out there use their services, but you are renting out that pillar. So not even is the pillar, it might be strong, one pillar, you might have several pillars that we're going to get into, but those are not blue pillars. They're not owned pillars. They might even be red pillars, right, Oscar? If you're renting out a website from someone and they're doing all the SEO, all the Facebook, all the stuff on a rented out situation. And if you stop paying for that rented out situation, not only do you lose the house, but you also lose all of the foundation, the glue, the nails, like you have nothing, right? And I,
Right.
and I think that's really, really scary in my world, in our world, really, of not like, it's like having a house. If you're renting a house and if anything happens and you don't want to pay rent, then you have nowhere to live, right? And I think that's really another thing to drive home is that there are some people out there that are renting things out. There's some people that might be paying a lot of money for one of these pillars, but it just to show you, like Oscar was mentioning, that if you're at the beck and call of these companies or another company that's given you a situation, that's never a good situation. So we really want to show you how to do this on a strong foundation. And so yes, continue on, Oscar. Show them. Let's talk further about some of this stuff.
Awesome. And that's a great point that Sumit makes. Yeah, if you're too dependent on one thing, right? It's like being dependent on one patient to feed everything. It's bound to fail. And so you want to bulletproof yourself. And so, like we were mentioning before, we're going to talk today about the 4 R's, okay? And when you implement the 4 R's into your business, into your clinic, what you get is a clinic or a home that looks more like this. Pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, and the pillar 4, okay? Now, here, what happens if one goes down? You still have 3 to sustain the house, right? And so the point is, when you create these 4 R's and you implement them into the strategy of your clinic, you build a strong foundation and you build a clinic that's set up not only to scale, to grow, but also to automate. And that's why Sumit and I do what we do. We teach so that you can implement these strategies and many others and build a sustainable, profitable clinic that you can automate and you can focus on doing what you do best, which is serving your patients.
Absolutely.
All right. And so I'm going to quickly introduce the 4 R's. I'm going to hand it over to Sumit to talk to us about the first one. Let's change colors here so we can get a little creative. Let's go with, just go with black. Keep it
Yeah, let's
simple.
go with black.
So R number 1 is what we call reach. Okay. Number 2 is what we call resell. Number 3 we call referral. And number 4, reputation. Okay, so we broke it down. We made it easy. The 4 R's: reach, resell, referral, and reputation. Okay, and so we're going to hand it over to Sumit here to talk about reach. Again, we're going to keep it very high level because we're going to go deeper and really dedicate an episode to each one of these R's so that you can understand what it means, how it's implementable or how can it be implemented into your clinic, and what it means for you. and the things that you need to focus on so that you can implement each one of these in a strong foundational standpoint.
Absolutely. Let me just open up my whiteboard. All right. So I'm going to go with blue myself here. Really good color. So we're going to go with the first one. Oh, that's a little, just adjust this real quickly here. The
You
first
sharing your screen?
one, yes.
Okay.
See it?
I'm seeing.
You see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, so let's dive right into reach. So the first pillar, super, super important. So what we mean by reach is, let's just kind of, the way I like to look at this is, you have your clinic, right? And your clinic has been doing, servicing the community, right? Because at the end of the day, what we need to really focus on is who are you servicing, right? So when it comes to reach, sometimes some of you doctors, some of you wellness centers out there are national centers. So if you're a national center, then you obviously are trying to service a big, broad range of people, whether you're from the United States, whether you're from Canada, whether you're from Australia. It applies to anybody. But for the most part, let's go with the local clinic, right? The local clinics are really servicing people within their 25 to 30-mile radius, right? So that's really all you're concerned about. That's probably where you've gotten most of your business over the past year that you've been in business, or maybe you're opening, and that's where you're looking to get new business from, right? And so when you're local, what most people kind of really, rely upon, and what me and Oscar have seen, is they rely upon word of mouth, right? You might have a doctor that you met in med school. His clinic is, a town over, and so you have this, kind of situation where you guys kind of intersect, and maybe you're the general practitioner and they're more of a specialist. So, you guys have that Venn diagram where you kind of cross over and you refer, the patients to each other, and that's been kind of driving your business, and that's been doing really well so far, right? But now, as we move into a digital age, we have to set our businesses, whether it be clinics or whether it be any other business, up for the digital age. And what's awesome about the digital age that we try to help clinics with is this particular pillar, and how you could make this a very strong pillar. So let me kind of dive right into that. So when it comes to reach, and we'll go back to blue here, like I said, you're really focused on your 25-mile, 30-mile radius, right? Now, with a lot of the systems out there, if we tap into Facebook, if we tap into Google, if we tap into any kind of where any traffic is on the internet, we can actually target ads, or target, not, I wouldn't call it ads, but value, right? So, ads are ads, meaning they'll pop up on your screen, they'll pop up on your news feed, they'll pop up in search if someone's searching for, how do I cure this cold? But the whole concept that that medical clinics should be looking into is, how can I reach people with value, right? Because if you could reach people with value, then you can have an omnipresence within that 25-mile, 30-mile radius, right? Because people in that 25 to 30-mile radius, if they get sick, if they need some surgery done, if they have a health issue, they're always going to be going to what we call Dr. Google, right? And what a lot of other people, that we've talked to, is called Dr. WebMD. And I know that's a big, big no-no, because I know people do, doctors do not want people self-diagnosing themselves, right? So how do you prevent a situation like that happen? I mean, people are going to go to Google, they're going to type in stuff on Google, and whatever comes up on search is the value that they're going to be able to, understand right there, right then. So in order for you as a clinic to have massive reach, what we try to help you do is to build this pillar with these systems and get your value, get your information out there. So it would work something like this, where if they were able to find your information, then we can lead people down and kind of get them to know your clinic, your information, your other doctors can produce value, and this can go a long way, where it can kind of wean you off from, word of mouth, and where you kind of really move into omnipresence, right? Oscar, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's fantastic, and absolutely, like Sumi says, guys, by being able to provide value to your radius and making yourself an authority and a celebrity almost within your market, within your target area, That's how you are able to reach the right people with the right message, with the right service. And I think everything you just said was perfect, Sumit.
Absolutely. So I'm going to hand it over to Oscar now to talk about our next pillar, which is resell. So let me just quickly hand it over. There you go.
So, thank you, Sumit. Fantastic. So let's move into, switch over to blue. We're going to talk about number 2, which is referral. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say we're talking about resell.
Resell, right.
That's later on. Number 2 is resell. So the way I love looking at resell is looking at it like this. And I'm going to use, let's use the kind of the perpetrator of most disease, right? Which in medical circles, we know as inflammation. Okay. So we're going to draw a circle around inflammation. Now, as a clinic, let's say you are reaching people, like Sumit just said, you're reaching people through Google or through Facebook or whatever means in your area, and you want to talk to them about inflammation. So you bring them in. Now, once you have someone in your office, we know that the propensity for someone to buy from you, whether it's a product or a service, once they bought from you once and they're happy, is much greater than trying to sell someone the first time. Okay? And so a very interesting way of looking at reselling someone is if they come in for inflammation, or they come in for a chiropractic adjustment, or they come in for a teeth cleaning. Well, what are all the other services that your clinic and your service offers? So, for example, in inflammation, it could be, let's say you have gut issues. You have gut. So that is one. So we draw a little circle around that. And we're going to almost draw like a tree. So that's gut, okay? And then let's say we also have migraines. And as you can tell, Sumit has much better handwriting than I do. Oh. And then we'll do one more. Bear with me while I try to figure out how to use my pen, guys. I promise we'll get better at it. Okay. There we go. And then the last one could be arthritis. And again, you want to tailor this specifically for your practice, okay? And so think of other ways that you can implement these things. But essentially the point is, if you're able to bring someone in once for something, remember that you're able to resell them on other things and other services that could potentially be affecting your patients and whatever health issues they're currently having, okay? And the beauty of the resell is you build, and this is an important thing, you build not only customer loyalty, but you really start getting down into, and we'll go into this in another video, the lifetime value of a patient. And so we need to keep in mind that if you bring in someone from inflammation treatment, let's say for $9.97, well, remember, the lifetime value for them could be much greater, because if you're able to make them happy and deliver a good service, a good product, a good experience, well, then now you can also bring them in for gut, you can bring them in for migraines, and anything else. Make sense? And so the lifetime value of your customer now skyrockets. Okay, it's no longer just $9.97. Maybe you multiply that by 3 or by 4, and now you're looking at a patient that's worth at least $4,000, $3,000 worth to your clinic. Okay, and that's the whole premise of the resell, is keeping in mind that just because someone comes in for one service or one product, it doesn't mean that they cannot be resold to greater services to help alleviate other symptoms and whatever it is they're struggling with. Anything to add there, Sumit?
No, I mean, basically, I mean, I think you kind of hit it on the nail. I mean, at the end of the day, one of the things that we really try to help clinics understand, and as doctors, you guys understand that when you're looking at a patient, you got to understand the data. You got to understand, what's going on in their stats. And the same thing in your business, you really try to drive it down to that one thing that Oscar circled there in black, which is LTV, lifetime value of the customer. So if you're not tracking that, and maybe some of you guys can kind of understand what that might be on the top of your head, but you know that most patients are worth at least, let's just say, $1,000 to you in a given year, right? If you're a dentist, they're going to come back for 2 cleanings and they might have a couple of cavities. If you're a pain doctor, they might come in for certain procedures. If whatever you do, pediatrics, the child is coming back every couple of months. I know, Oscar, you have a child. I'm sure you take the child to the doctor many, many times, and I'm sure the doctors are earning a great business off that, taking care of children in their local area. So if you know LTV, the only thing I'm going to add to that is in the marketing world, if you know the value of your customers, let's just say $1,000, then you will be happy to pay $200 to acquire a customer out there in the marketing world, right? So if you don't want to really wait on your friend to refer you a patient, you know that if you could acquire a customer for $100, $200, then you do that every single day. Spend 100, 200, get another $1,000 client. Spend 100, 200, get another $1,000 client. So you can get clients on demand. If you start to really think about this, how you could really grow your practice here and really strengthen that pillar is really through metrics, is really to understanding your own data for your own clinic. That's the only thing that I would really add there is just that. So shall we
Yep.
move on to the next pillar?
Yeah, and
Or
just to top of that one off, I wanted to simplify really quickly, Sumit, just from what you were saying, and to add to what you were saying is so to look at this outside of just information, look at things as a problem number one, right? That's why someone comes in the first time, and then you branch it out by problem number two, problem number three, problem number four. These are all the resell points, and again, what does that mean for your clinic? It means more money to your bottom line. It also means greater loyalty. And so that's, I think, a great screenshot that you can take there to just really deconstruct what this means to resell someone once they come in to see you the first time.
excellent. That's awesome. All right. So let's move on to the next pillar. Let me share my screen. All right. Let me get my desk scribble on.
Sumit, we look good in black.
I know. I love black is one of my favorite colors. All right. Perfect. So now we are going to talk about number three, which is referral. And I really like this pillar because there is let's just say, an online version to this, and then there's an offline version to this, right? And most of the doctors here today, most of you guys that run wellness centers, if you're an office manager, we all know the offline version of this 100% really well, right? We kind of hit on that a couple times during this presentation, relying on word of mouth. I know I was talking with my wife the other day, and she said, "Oh, word of mouth worked really well because I referred, 5 other people from my local office to this dentist." Kind of how it happens when you go to the office. People in the office refer different doctors or medical services to people, and you get a lot of people there. And that's without a doubt, that's 100% true. That happens, right? But referral online it's a beautiful thing, and we're going to just dive into it on a 10,000-foot level view. But a referral online is really, not relying on that word of mouth. And the reason why you don't want to rely too much on word of mouth is because that you don't know if this pillar will ever die, right? Or it becomes a little bit more weaker, right? So what we try to do and we help clinics with is having a great online referral strategy and also an offline referral strategy. So this is always going to be a great go-to, but we should strengthen that and complement that with an online referral strategy. So let me kind of show you a little bit about how that kind of works in a little bit more in technical terms. So when we kind of spoke about in pillar number one last, which was reach, about value. And so if you provide value, so let's just say we have a patient. I'm going to draw this out, right? So here's a patient, and they came to your clinic, right? They came on Monday. They were having a cold, so they went to Google, right? And they searched, I have a cold, da 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 da. They're obviously Google knows that they're in, let's just say, New York City, and so obviously your article of value came up about colds and so forth, right? So they read this article. On the bottom of the article, there was a clear call to action. They clicked on it. Maybe they booked an appointment because they like what they saw. So now you got a patient. Now that page of content, let's just say somebody else in their office had that issue or somebody else had it in their town. If they shared that link, remember this page would have something what we kind of call is a pixel, right? You don't need to understand exactly what that is right now, but what you do need to understand is if we install these pieces of code on the back of the value that you provide, now we can start building what we kind of call is a custom audience, right? If we build that custom audience and we can kind of upload that into some of the systems that I spoke about in pillar number one, then we can actually target this information to people that are locally within that 25 to 30-mile radius with the value that you had provided this one person. Maybe it's cold season, so you obviously want to dominate the market with this article because it's actually working really well. So that's one way you can get referrals. Another way, obviously, that you can get referrals is, if you have a good care system. And what I mean by care system, in today's market, like I said, the same person comes into your clinic, right? You take care of them. Maybe they have I don't know, let's just say they broke their arm, right? So Sam was playing football, he broke his arm, and he got a cast, you checked him out and you sent him home, right? So now Sam is going to be, for the next 6 weeks, the only thing that's going to be on Sam's mind is, I have this broken arm, I'm getting it healed, I want to heal faster, I want to get back to my normal life. So what Sam does is he normally goes to Google, like we all do, and he starts searching for different solutions because his relationship with you as the doctor, it's only like a once every 6 month situation, right? Or a once every 3 month situation in Sam's case, right? But in order for you to have that omnipresence, and for people in today's world, it's all about what we like to call the patient journey, right? Because if someone had a really good patient journey and they got their lollipop or they got some great service from you, like I said to you on the offline version, they're going to go tell their coworkers, right? Because obviously they went there and then they had a great time or they had a good experience. They're going to share that, right? And so as much as the patient journey matters offline, it also matters online. And so how do we help clinics, with the patient journey online is rather than this patient Sam to rely on Google after he comes back, perhaps there might be an email list, right, that he signs up for. And so that way he gets emails from you, the doctor, on what to expect over the next 6 weeks. So maybe you send 2 emails a week for the next 6 weeks. That might be 12 emails in total. So now Sam is going to get information directly from your clinic on how to take care of his stuff, what to expect, when is the, bone going to heal, or how long it takes, or what he can do to further, get better quicker. And I think that's really the online system of referral. And I call that a referral system because he is getting his treatment and he's getting the understanding of how to help himself, right? Now, in any of these emails, obviously, you can always embed something where you can say, share this with another patient. You can also just, in the fact that you have these emails, a patient will feel more secure that the doctor actually cares. And then obviously they can recommend, obviously, your clinic online. Like I said, through the pixel, we can also push your information out there. So there's multiple ways that we work with clinics to really kind of formulate, as you can see here, this whole online strategy where not only are the patient journey taken care of online and not just offline, but there are many, many multiple ways for you to have that celebrity, like Oscar was mentioning, but also leverage that data that sees that value so you can further get more patients and more referrals into your clinic, right? I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Oscar.
That was perfect, Sumit. Oh, actually, just one thought. I thought it was fantastic that you brought up the patient journey, and just to kind of preview, if you will, Sumit and I have been working on a very beautiful comic, and to really illustrate in a very fun way and kind of make things visual, you can even put it on your board. It's going to be this map that is the patient journey. It's going to take them through the entire process of going from a prospect to setting an appointment with you, for showing up for their consult, and then actually becoming a new patient. And so we'll share that with you guys in a later episode.
Okay, perfect. So let me give you back the screen.
All right. Okay, and so let's go ahead and wrap it up now with the last R for today, and that is reputation. And as we jump into it, there's a few things that I just want to point out, and we all know this, but it's worth re-mentioning or mentioning again. It's patients today have the ability to get online and search for a particular doctor, to search for a particular hospital. And so there's so much equity in building a strong online reputation because, like Sumit said before, it's no longer just word of mouth. People are going online, they're reading your reviews, and they want to know, are you someone worth even spending time getting in contact with? Are you a doctor worth going to your clinic? And believe it or not, there is a huge component of this that ties back to your online reputation, okay? And I just want to throw out a couple of numbers just really quickly to kind of hammer home the point. 30% of the 113 million people in the US are going online, like I said before, to find a particular doctor, to find you, okay? They're going online. And of those 30%, 58 are basing their decision on what they're seeing online.
Right, so that's 33 million people for those of you at 30% of 113 million. And then you said 58% of that. I mean, we at least have 20 million people. That's a market. They're basing their decision just solely on what they see on the internet.
Exactly. How powerful is that, right? And so what does this mean to you? Important, strong online presence. All right. And so, what is one way that we can build a strong reputation online? And you're going to hear us talk a lot about this in the future. It's building a celebrity presence and building authority. Okay? People want to work with the best. People want to work with experts. You want to build authority. You're going to be able to build authority and create that celebrity presence by implementing, first and foremost, the first 3 R's that we talked about. Remember, reach, your resell, your referral. All of those things tie back into a strong celebrity presence and authority in your market. Okay? And so we're not going to jump into this too much today, but again, being active on social. Okay? Creating content, guys. Omnipresence, creating content that adds value. And then for a little bit more advanced, and this is something that Sumit and I also work with our doctors with, is creating an ebook, which is not as hard as it probably seems. And again, very quickly, 3 simple ways that you, as a medical practitioner, can begin to separate yourself.
Right.
From your,
I would
from
even
your
add to that, Oscar, as number 3 can branch out into 2 parts, is that we also help doctors that are really, not every practice wants to be in front of the camera or explain things, but for those that do, we also have webinar systems that, as you probably have been on some kind of a webinar for some situation in the past, they're super powerful. They, you have your 40 minutes of time when someone signs up that they can, access the presentation and really kind of absorb the information, whatever you want to talk to them about, some of the results that your clinic has gotten. It's a great way to kind of get on your clinic show, so to say.
Absolutely. So webinars and other types of sales funnels. And so, like we mentioned before, today's objective was to just introduce the 4Rs to show the importance of making sure that you implement the 4R strategy into your clinic so that you can create a strong foundation and so that you can focus on what you do best with this, which is helping people transform their lives, helping people with their health issues, and being the best doctor that you can be, and letting everything else automate itself for you to help you grow your business. All right, and so Sumit, I'm just going to very quickly again hammer home the point. The 4Rs that we discussed today is reach, resell, referral, and reputation. When you can do these 4 and you do them well, you've now set yourself up to have a profitable and sustainable clinic.
Absolutely. I mean, and these are what some of the best doctors anywhere in the world are doing that understand online marketing. I know I've been personally in different conferences myself, and the doctors that are dominating, the ones that are super happy, the ones that are just like, I have so much business, I have so many patients coming to me. I mean, to be honest with you, they invested heavily in trying to at least set up one of the 4Rs, or maybe they set up 2 of the 4Rs. And when they have, and that's not bad, right? They still are doing much better than people that have none of the 4Rs set up. But when you get all of your online systems working, and when you know your numbers, and when you can see leads coming in, when you can understand calls being recorded so that you can understand what your office manager is talking about. I know me and Oscar talk about this all the time, where we used to set up a lot of these lead systems for clinics, and we would drive a lot of leads, right? The doctors are paying money, a lot of leads are coming in, right? Everything should be great and dandy. But if you don't have a system to accept those leads and talk to those leads, or your office manager is not rehearsed on it, you can lose a lead, right? You could lose a lot of business, right? So the point is that, let's just say a hospital finds you on the internet, they love your value, they want to work with you on $100,000 contract or something of that sort, and then the office manager picks up and says, we don't do that. Well, then you just lost $100,000, right? So the part of having the 4Rs is also having these internal systems that when you have all of these plugged in, it would be running like a fine oiled machine, right? And you'll be super happy because not only will your business be really well, but you'll be really helping your patients in your local area. You would really have that celebrity status. I think all of you can agree that you've all gotten into this. I know myself and Oscar have gotten into this side of helping clinics because we want to help you guys as much as you
Absolutely.
want to help patients, right? So if we kind of bring it back to that original want, which is the helping of our constituents, we got to build the best systems. We got to do the right things in order for us to play the game today in 2019, right? So this is really where it's going. These 4Rs probably have never changed, whether, 20 years ago, they just get updated as new tools and bells and whistles come out. And that's really all we're saying here is you might even have these all implemented on your offline strategy. You might be saying, hey, Oscar, hey, Samit, I have a great reach system. Okay, I have a great resell system. My reputation online, I'm on Yelp, I have 4.7 stars, right? I have a great referral system, right? And that's great. If you have these things in place, we're not saying to get rid of them, but we're just saying take a look at what can be possible online, right? Make sure that you own all your assets because at the end of the day, all of these R's can produce data that if you wanted to sell your clinic in the future, it would increase the value of your clinic 5 to 10 times more when you have data, right? Because today's world, it's all about data. So what we want to leave it with is, we're going to get into each of these R's in our next pieces of content that we're going to be putting out over the next week or so. So hopefully this was helpful to everybody, and we really appreciate your time for spending it here with us and learning about the 4Rs today, building a profitable medical practice.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.